everyone, it's Suzi here, and today we're playing Dragonheir Silent Gods. For today's video, we're taking a look at the Resurgent Dragon. This is the endgame final phase of the first season. Alright, so this is the day 1 of it starting, and as it says, the main stage opens the 20, or in 1 day actually. So this is only, or one day they give you for testing. So we have, each hero can participate only 1 time. You get 6 tickets. And I wanted to start off with what it looks like for the first day, the practice phase, and then what does it really look like when it opens. And just to be clear, this is it. This is the time where your, for one, if you didn't max out your psychic core somehow, I don't know how that would be possible by this point, but if you didn't, you will. But also, oh, they don't show the leaderboard rankings yet. I'll show you that later, because that's where things get crazy for the rankings, and this is what really matters for those final season rankings. But the Resurgent Dragon. When challenging the Resurgent Dragon, each of your heroes can only be used once per day. Choose your lineup carefully. You can challenge the Resurgent Dragon multiple times daily. Rewards are issued based on total damage dealt per rating tier. Whenever the Resurgent Dragon loses a certain amount of HP, all players on the server can claim a reward. The Resurgent Dragon can still be challenged after being defeated. Damage rating rewards increase significantly the day after its defeat. This is the key. After the whatever time the server launch, it enters the enhanced state with upgraded skills. Daily ranking rewards based on challenge damage are issued, and cumulative damage ranking rewards are issued as well. So I want to show you guys all of this in one video. So if you're here and you're just going into this phase, you know what to expect and how to prepare. So server-wide damage, you can see there's rewards when it hits 25%, when it hits 50%, and then 75%. Final, when it's beat, again, even more. So this really helps people max out their psychic core if they slacked on other content throughout the season. But it's not hard to max out your psychic core just by doing dailies. So I don't think most people would have that problem. But information. So the first phase of the boss, the easier phase, this is the Copper Dragon. You'll also see it called if you look up videos, okay? It gains 8 stacks of Power of the Dragon Rage when the battle starts after casting Dragon God's Roar. When any unit on the battlefield triggers ultimate up or ultimate down, the effect will be nullified, and 1 stack of the buff will be consumed instead. Additionally, Copper Dragon gains stackable total bonus damage permanently after each cast of Dragon's Roar. Power of the Dragon Rage, a special stack. Its stacks can be reduced by increasing ally ultimate energy or decreasing enemy. So this, they're literally telling you in the first passive, one of the main mechanics you need to bring into this fight. You need 1 person on every team that is either boosting your allies or decreasing the enemy. Also, Copper Dragon deals damage. It reduces the max HP of the target by a certain percentage based on the actual damage dealt. So like that destroy enemy max HP type effect. You can see the boss traits overall. After taking a certain amount of damage in a single battle, subsequent damage is reduced. So just like 200 million will be the goal. Immune to control effects. And then each stack, total damage bonus, each stack of this increases damage dealt by 5%. It can be, this effect is unstoppable, undispellable, and permanent. So he'll go through all these phases where he will burn you. So we got an AoE burn, then flaps his wings, AoE burn, dealing damage, dispelling 1 buff from each of them. He will dispel your buffs. If 2 or more heroes have no buffs after dispelling, the boss gains defense up. So you want to make sure that your timing of when you use buffs matters because of this. But yeah, we'll get into the exact fights later. And then complete recharge here, attack, it puts attack penalty on. So that's when you definitely want to prevent or cleanse. But usually you prevent it for these endgame bosses. And then here, lets out a roar. If it has no power of the Dragon Rage, it will enter a weakened state, which is what you want. You want to make sure it goes into the weakened state, and during which he takes more damage. Otherwise, it will remove its debuffs. After that, he'll regain 8 stacks. So the goal is to get the boss into its weakened state and then blast him with your hardest hits. So this is something where the timings matter a lot, and I'm definitely going to do my best to look into some teams and kind of refresh myself for this fight and prepare. So do remember again here, this is the recommendations. They tell you what you should have. If you want to resist the debuffs, you can build with resistance, or if you want to make sure you land your debuffs, there you go. But yeah, this is the Resurgent Dragon. So it'll show your records for what you do. You can go in and do 6 keys a day. The first phase is a practice phase, so we will definitely take a look at the real phases once they start, but hopefully I'll practice before then. Before I forget, I want to remind you guys the buffs. So accuracy plus 40, resistance plus 40, plus your psychic core bonuses. So that plays a role highly in how you build your heroes. Also 10% crit rate, you can build everybody with 90% instead of 100. And all this other stuff makes a big difference. So this helps you build your heroes with even more damage or survivability and lessen the need for certain extra stats. Alright, now we're jumping to the next day where it actually is open. And this is early on. Well, I guess halfway through the day, less than halfway through the day. You could see challenge attempts, almost 15 hours left for me. We're almost at the 25% point already. Damage rankings, you could see a lot of people have already hit. So this is what it's looking like for numbers. So very similar to the Continental Challenge, like I read with the details. Your main goal is that 200 million for 6 teams. Sounds like a lot, but it is possible. Overall, of course, I wouldn't say it's easy unless every team has one exclusive, like you could see here almost. But oh my goodness, look at this little corrosion team. I'm actually kind of surprised there. But I actually did some testing yesterday, and I was able to get 6 teams there, even though I did not have. See, I wish it showed. Does it show? It doesn't show my little damage rankings. It doesn't show my attempts, does it? Or does it yesterday? No. I was able to get 200,000 even with some makeshift stuff, you know, like a Frost team with all the free-to-play heroes. So it's definitely possible. So that should be your goal, and you'll be doing okay. I had some big numbers with my rankings that I'm gonna wait to do last. I'll probably start with my little ones first, the harder ones that I need to work with. Like this person probably, oh no, they did them all too. So a lot of people are not getting the big numbers I expected. I'm gonna kick their butts. But only getting this with Telethia is really bad and very sad. But they don't have Diantha. Interesting. Yeah, even I don't know. There's some interesting numbers. Okay, here you go. This is a little bit more free to. No, it has Oster. I was like, it's free to. Well, he's just a random dude. You can squeeze some numbers out. It looks like from these other teams, but the big teams like Telethia and stuff are gonna do a lot more. I'm very curious to see the top people in our server do a little bit better, because this is very low for Aura. Actually, I did way more than this. I think I did around this for Rally, and yeah, this is kind of the start of it. So like I said, I'll just check in the different phases, and let me show you after I do my teams at this current phase. So remember, like it said, it enters an enhanced state with upgraded skills, which will show on the information screen. So this is only phase 1. Again, only phase 1. But yeah, I'll show you what my 6 teams end up being for the phase 1. Oh, and yeah, sorry, it's the day period. You could see here, the boss difficulty will soar in 3 days. So 4 full days after it resets or starts. All right, and coming back in, so this is the day 2 after I did my battles. I actually did place 4th, which is exactly where I am in this season overall, so it's probably where I'll stay, unless I can ramp something up. So let me show you what this looks like now. So I did really well. I'm quite proud of my teams. And now we've passed another milestone. Yay, free stuff. I need all the rewards I can get, especially scrolls. Okay. And let me go here and show you my challenge record. Oop, no, damage rankings. Yesterday. So I ended up 4th. So these guys freaking nailed it. I knew that the top 3 people above me were gonna do better. Just their teams are better overall, which is why they've been above me. But I didn't get to see what they did yet. So just wanted to give a shout here. Like, the goal is above 200 for all of them. But I was able to get my aura team to 717. I actually got it to like 732. And this just shows like the power of trying to only use one support is where my, like, Ogak is the only support. A0 Ogak, the only support for my Toxin team. So it's possible, guys. Ogak and Gatekeeper. The other one that did pretty good was my Burn team. But this one is a little bit of a hot mess. I don't know if I have all the mechanics down. Am I even manipulating enough ultimate energy? I don't think at all. Oh wait, no, Jorn. He is covering that. Duh, that's the point. I was able to get this down, but because there's no skills on them, I don't think I got them to a 15-second rotation, even though I tried. It was a little bit messy, but I did not overly perfectly set up to have every mechanic needed for mine. But let's look at the best person in my server so you guys can see some more examples of teams. Look at this, guys. Free to play, friendly, simple type cross teams, easy to get over 200. I did as well with one. Budget version of look at this, fire poison mix for season 1. Got over 200. The guy went all in on his A5 Telethia aura team. This one's crazy. So it's really fun to see. Of course, Diantha, which is remains, Telethia with the bell, Rena with the staff, and I maybe could have done that, but he's always had this guy as like a tank for his Vortex team. And then Shala with the orb and Brotherhood set. So I think my failure is I didn't get all the girls to oh, and I don't have them all skilled. I don't have her skilled at all. So this is one of my new ones I need to skill from my aura team, apparently. Definitely worth it, given a team like this as an example. 1.5 for one team, guys. That's more than what the top 10 players did. Or more than what everyone else in the top 10 did in my server with just one team. So yeah, I just want to take a special moment to show some examples of this. But if you're just looking to stay in the top 10, I mean, or even hell, the top 50 of your server, the top 20 of your server, ideally, most people are going to be aiming to get, you know, over 1 billion. And there's lots of combination of teams that can do above 200. And then that should be your goal. And you'll be doing pretty good if you can get all of your teams over 200. And it doesn't take exclusives, as I click on someone who only has exclusives. But it doesn't take exclusives to be able to do it. There's plenty of, these are bad ones. Let me show another big one here. So it doesn't take perfect teams for sure. And some of these, wow, this is pretty cool too. Some of these could probably have even been better. But they did a really good job here. This Paxton team is fun. This is what I want to, this is the team I want to do myself. Paxton, Durham, Karf, and then Jorn and Cinderella. That's probably going to be close to my exact lineup in the future. Oh wait, no, but I do have the other guy. Scar, but I did put him in there too. Yeah, it's fun to see though, right? 220 Frost, but then this guy, but that's not needed at all. Okay, so that is how it looks. Right now, we're kind of waiting. I mean, I'm going to do another round of fights, and once the boss gets to 100%, it does say the rewards get better. But I mean, if we're just getting more of this resource, oops, not that, then it's not exactly the most exciting thing ever, because it is just cycles, and it's whatever for the rest of the season. But yeah, I don't know. Pretty happy to be where I'm at, so I'm going to be happy with accepting my 4th. As long as you're in the top 10, 4 or 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, no matter. I don't think I can hit top 3. They're just a bit better than me. It is what it is. But alright guys, yeah, that is the Resurgent Dragon overall for the look of the setup. So I'm going to go in and end this with the mechanics of the boss actually in action. Or at least this section of the video, because it's going to change. So once it hits the boss difficulty increase, like it says here, the boss will add a few mechanics. It's going to add more skills. But let me try to give a good example. So this is like the typical like best aura team you should be going for. Like in my case, Rena has all this ultimate energy that she does. So this is really helpful. But I'm actually not sure if she gets the boss down to be in the weakened state enough. So the goal is to have the team, if possible, even on a 15-second rotation. So because Rena is so amazing, I don't think this is happening because I have it on her on a 30-second rotation. I probably should put this on 15 as well and see what happens. But if you can get them in a 15-second rotation, go twice within your weakened state period and all that, then yeah. The more you go, the better damage you did, and I think that's how I did so well. But I did not perfectly min-max my abilities here. And you're really just looking for AoE against this boss, because you do have his, you can see it, his hands, his claws, and his face to attack. And positioning doesn't really matter for where you put based on the enemy. It only matters if it matters for your team, like if you're using Nathaniel for shields, and people need to be in range. Hope that helps for some tips there. But I'm actually going to give myself a shout out here. If you type Resurgent Dragon in the search when you're on PC for my YouTube channel, or if you just search Resurgent Dragon, Dragonheir, or Dragonheir Resurgent Dragon, you will find one of my better videos here. This 10 tips versus the Resurgent Dragon. It's cute that I thought 80 million with a Frost team was good. That was back in the day 2 years ago. A lot's changed. But the tips I give in this video are so helpful, and I really, really I was proud of this one when I looked back at it. So let me just go through the TLDR so we can quickly talk about it. And I can give that for this video too, not making you watch 2 videos, but if you want to watch this in better detail, I will strongly suggest you go watch this video in full. So the number 1 tip, making everyone survive the whole fight is the main goal. You want to see that 8 minutes. If some people are dying, you're losing damage. So make your team survive. Make your support better. Even if you have a healer that's like your only healer, use the gatekeeper staff on them. Even if you don't think you should or it's good enough, it actually really surprised me. I was able to get a lot of healing and shields out of it that I didn't expect, and use a 1 support team. So that was really impressive. Gatekeeper staff is amazing. Plus it adds the skill haste, which means they can go more often if you have them on a full YOLO. Or if you need to do a 15-second rotation instead of 18 or 20 or 30 for the whole boss fight. And then here, you don't need a tank. So like, don't worry about tanks. I know like, oh, a tank in the front just feels like you should have that in every team, but you don't. Unless that tank is bringing you something else, something important, right? The other thing here, ignore tip number 3, not 1. Shields are massive. Use shields as much as possible because the boss takes down your max HP, like enemy max HP damage type thing, if you're familiar with other games. But when you have a shield on, you take less damage. So you lose less of your max HP. So that's the TLDR there. Ultimate energy up or down is a must for this. So that's where I think some of my lazy quick throw some teams in there and make it work. I think that's what helped, or this is what could help me. I think making sure that the boss is always going into that weakened state every single round for consistency with timings. If he only goes in sometimes, then sometimes it's a 30-second rotation, sometimes it's a 35-second rotation. It really depends on your setup. So that's important to know as well. If he doesn't go in that weakened state, that's, 5 seconds difference of what's happening in your battle. So technically, I think people should be on a 35-second rotation, but I don't know. I'll double. It is what it is. I think I might have messed that one up. But yeah, hold your DPS ultimates until after the boss is in the weakened state if you can semi-manual. And that's a big thing too. Sometimes. Not saying every time, but if you can, or if you could just time it right and keep things consistent to where that is happening when the boss hits the ultimate state, you're like, boom, that's when you go into that. So that's something to work out with your own team and depending on your ability to keep it in the weakened state all the time or not. Or just holding and manually doing them. Preventing the debuffs before they land is ideal, especially once you get to the second phase, which will be next. After the boss gets the increased difficulty, if there's the recharging speed penalty, throws off your whole fight. So the second you get that, all of a sudden you might not be able to hit your timings you had before. So you need to prevent this before it happens. That's where Acilia or even the Thea, right, from the Necrosis. But there's, debuff immunity heroes are huge for this. You don't want to have to cleanse. Once you cleanse, it's too late and your timings are off. All right, number 7, use a hero that dispels debuffs or cleanses, or cleanse 2, because you gotta, you've got to be careful in the second phase. You don't want someone that just dispels 1 debuff. That's not enough, right? So if you can't prevent it and you have to dispel, in the second phase, you're gonna need 2 debuffs cleansed, not just 1. And then you don't always need, the ironic part is you don't always need it all. Sometimes you're fine. Sometimes you can still hit those numbers even with the debuff. Sometimes if your team does damage based on attack, which it does, even Aura has that, you're having a decreased attack debuff on your team is still hurting your team no matter what. So yes, it's going to hurt your damage, but that's not to say you can't do good enough in your rankings or good enough with a specific team, even if you have the debuff on you, but ideally you want to get rid of it or prevent it. And positioning does matter for certain heroes, more like pay attention to your own team for this fight. And manual or semi-manual, manualing or semi-manualing, depending on what's happening, is a bit needed for these unless you have a perfect timed fight. And you watch it back and you're always using your ultimates during the weakened state, and the boss always goes into the weakened state, etc., etc. It's just something to keep an eye on, but if you really, really want the max numbers, those are the people that take the time to carefully process every fight. And if you can't do that, or you're not willing to do that, don't expect to get in the top 3, right? It's just not going to happen. Okay, that is all for this part. I will show you the increased difficulty afterward. All right, and we're back with the Resurgent Dragon content continuing because now it's the difficulty increase. So the abilities are enhanced, and this is a tough one because it's not exactly easy to tune. And what I mean by that is very quickly at 12 seconds, which this might take a second or two to actually place. I can't remember. I need to double check myself. But burn and recharging speed penalty and buff prohibition get placed here. So if this happens at 12 seconds, that means you need to prevent it from happening before 12 seconds. And not a lot of those ultimates are really going to happen before that, right? At least the ones you need it to. Maybe some, but probably not all. So this is a factor. If you can make a debuff immunity happen before this, great. That would be the goal. right? When you set up your timings, you want the debuff immunity to happen here. So this never happens in the first place. No buff prohibition, no recharge speed penalty, no messing up your timings. But with that in mind, there's obviously a little bit to worry about too, because depending on how long that debuff immunity is, you also have more debuffs coming at 24 seconds. I think the timing for this, for the cleanse, was to do it at like 26.5 seconds if you want to remove what happens here. So there's two things to play, or two factors, right? You're going to need more support for this boss, more than likely. You're going to need, I think the easiest way, if you can't make a buff for debuff immunity happen before 12 seconds, then you need to wait for one round to go through, then manually turn on your timings for that first debuff immunity to happen here. Or you could set it to where it's, you know, after the first rotation, whatever, but it's really hard to make sure that it happens correctly. It would take lots of in and out, probably looking at your timings for that. But that is an option, right? So not only you need debuff immunity here, and then you probably need an immediate cleanse here at 26.5 seconds. And then after that, you'd want to make sure after this happens and the boss goes down into the weakened state, that's when you pop all your ultimates. You don't want to pop your ultimates accidentally a little bit too early when you have this attack penalty and damage penalty on. Even that split second of wasted time, you could lose a lot of damage. Now, I personally had a lot of fun with my teams. You know, I showed what I was working with, and even though everything was not perfectly timed, I don't think I always went into the weakened state for some of them. What I did find was the biggest improvement was to start semi-autoing, like I mentioned in the other part of the video. Just watching the fight, stopping my ultimate from my main heroes, and then blasting it the second the boss went down. Like right when the boss made the animation to fall into the weakened state, boom, pop the ultimate, continue. So you definitely can maximize your damage by doing that. And that's probably the best way if you can't get everything perfectly in sync. But the game does make it pretty clear. Just be sure to go back and watch the battle before you do auto combats, because like you might be like, okay, this is 12 seconds. It does this. But it might actually take another second or two for things to land, like it does here. These are the things you have to be very mindful of as well, okay? It's just a big... And then this here, defense up. If there are no buffs after dispelling, the boss gains defense up. Spelling 2 buffs from each of them. So you want a lot of buffs on you, because the boss is going to, dispel some. So you actually want 3 buffs, at least on a couple people. Or the boss puts defense up 2 on himself, and then you're going to do less damage. It's a lot to take in, and depending on your server, honestly, like, I ran one yesterday. Can I see yesterday's? I don't think so, no, because there was no ranking. Yesterday we didn't do anything because it was there's one day to practice as well. And I ran my team, and it is what it is. But our damage is a lot less than before because of all of this factor. This person didn't have it hinder them too much, right? They were doing 1.5 or something with this team anyway. But some of their other teams are a little lower. They were like 3.6, I think, and now they're 3.1. Not that it's that bad, but they're clearly the #1 team. And they didn't dramatically change their rosters. But you can see here, like, healing with, this is what I ended up doing with Zarloth and Estella were my supports and whatnot for this. But do they have every element? Does all of their teams have a cleanse and a debuff immunity? No. And they're still doing this, but that's because if you have 2 or 3 really strong teams that can push your damage higher, you can kind of get away with a little bit more bare minimum from the others. And that's what they're doing here. Because, like, obviously, like, he's great, but his battle skill does some of this. He does put immortality, and he cleanses when he heals thanks to his passive. But again, where's the debuff prevention? He's not even using one. And this is one of his top teams, right? What about here? Where is the prevention? Here. Random. Completely random. That's not good enough. But as you can see, he does have a cleanse here with that character, but no one else. And he's still getting these kind of damages. So there's definitely ways to min-max your damage, which I think is actually more important for the lower tier teams that need a little help to stick around, that just can't blast their damage away with an I5 Telethia. These are the teams that actually need the proper support a little bit more, because you're just trying to get through the battle and do as much damage as possible without hindering your damage with those debuffs or with the buff that goes on the boss. So just try to be mindful of the mechanics, but also be mindful of your server. See where you're placing. If you can just full smash, ignore some of the mechanics, and still place in the top 10, top 20 if that's your goal, then good enough. Don't stress. Kidding, not kidding. I'm just trying to be honest here, because it's very difficult. So at the end of the day, you're really just looking for that. If you're in season 1 like me, which is what we're talking about now, you're really looking for that placement. Oh, here we go. Of top, stage 3, top 20. Because you want to get these gold tickets ideally. Now, it's really not as difficult to get in the top 20 on most new servers, because only so many people actually min-max and play hard and play daily and whatever. And even if you're not a big spender, you could still do that. I'm in the top 10 being a fake Kraken, as I call myself. Right? Top 10. There we go. But yeah, let me go ahead. I'm going to play my team for you guys, okay? I'm going to play my team the way it is now, which is probably not ideal. We'll watch one start of a run so you can see my example. I don't get nearly as much as that guy does. So this is my Telethia team. We're going to load in the saved plan. Attack aura. We have our little familiar that needs way more needs better talents. My timings are set for the last thing, which is actually probably not right. I think when we go into the weekend state, it should be 17.5 because it's 35 seconds because the boss is down longer. So that is something I'm still needing to experiment with. Am I going into the weekend state all the time? I don't know, especially now it's going to be even more of a mess. And yeah, if I had a cleanse, I was timing this to be 26.5, right? For the head to cleanse after that first one. But is that even going to happen now? I don't think so. I really don't think so. All right, guys, let's just play one, even though it's not going to be perfect, just to kind of see the flow. So like Diantha, then the others go, and then Telethia goes when there's been a second or two, you know, for the debuff immunity to actually, or sorry, defense penalty to actually land. This is 4 times speed. See, this is the time where I should be saving, right? Okay, early on, I'm going to pull out Telethia. This is where things get better. This is when things really get better. I wait for Telethia 100%. Wait until the boss falls. I'm waiting. Damn it. There, boom. When the boss is fallen, pop Telethia. Let her do one more ult beforehand. Might be not enough time, I think, this time. Yeah, not enough time. This was bad timing. It just messes everything up because the recharging speed penalty is getting on our characters. See, that one might have been a little early. It's so hard. But, okay, the debuffs, it's sometimes timing okay, sometimes not. That's the sad part, right? That is the sad part. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's definitely not. Let's go back to 4 times speed and just let this be a little bit messy. I really don't want Telethia to go until he hits the ground, because she's the big core burst damage. But am I wasting a couple seconds here and there because I'm not doing it fast enough because it's 4 times speed and my reactions are only so good? Yeah, probably. And ideally I would want all of them to be hitting right now. and making sure that defense penalty is up for Telethia, because by the time the defense penalty is happening, but I can't manually do it for everybody. That's the hard part. There's just not enough time, right? Not enough time. And this looks really bad, actually. So I made it worse, not better. I actually did this yesterday and got over 700. So me manualing this time was not good. Nope, not good. I tried and I just made it more difficult. So let's see. When I did it the full clear, I got over 700. I think I'm just going to be happy and take that because I think everyone else is going to struggle to make it be well timed as well. But I think it's so hard to debate of what. Ooh, 680. I think I'm going to try for over 700 with a few auto clears because I did do one yesterday. But that just shows you the difference. I got over 800 when I was able to actually take the time to semi-manual her. And don't forget to use my link in the description or the pinned comment to download the game now if you're a new player looking to check out the game. Be sure to head on into the store and over to the Treasure Market monthly section where you link to a creator. You can use my creator code suziplays and that will unlock a free pack here to get a monthly bonus summon and more. Plus, it also unlocks some really great value packs if you are a little bit of a spender. You do need to do that at the beginning of every month. Make sure you don't forget to relink to a creator. And if you do decide to spend, there's some really great offers. This game makes spending feel exciting, and you feel like you get a lot of bang for your buck, as I always used to say. Whether it be just purchasing some fun stuff with Dragon Crystals or the great like Battle Pass style rewards, they do a really good job offering options that they didn't used to before. If you're a returning player, you might be surprised. So again, use my link in the description or the pinned comment for Buff to get the best prices you can and multiple payment options. And yeah, that is all, guys. Let's get back to the video. But that's the endgame boss, guys. It gets way more difficult, way more debuffs. There's 10 things you need to worry about in one team. But at the end of the day, not everybody even bothers with all of that. Right? This now has Gillian as the only support for this team, and they got only 500 for their Telethia team. 7 with the I5 Ogak. They're only getting not even 700 now. I think they did better before too. It's a lot harder now, but most of the people on my server are completely ignoring the mechanics. But hey, you just gotta hang with your server. So if you can play this and not overly stress it, then there you go, right? It depends on your server if you can get away with good enough or if you got a min-max. So that's one of my biggest tips here. But that is the end game boss. This will be open for, this is open for 4 full days of play. And then it'll transition to see about your season switch. Like for me right now, it does show the Boundless Chess having Season 7 as the next thing. But I actually honestly question that because I think they're only going to have like a week left of their server by the time we switch. So that doesn't make much sense to me. I feel like we would just wait a week and then join Season 8. Why would we only go to Season 7 for a week? I will see how it goes with the rest of you guys, and I will be sure to share that experience because a lot of the other players don't know either. Alright guys, good luck on your endgame boss. I hope this conversation was helpful. It's a very big, detailed video. Lots of conversation here, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.